In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And good morning, golfing world. It's TGD Today with Roundtable here with Hugh Roy III and George Honeycutt. And we've got a special guest in the house. Hugh,
Yes,
why don't
we
you
do.
introduce your guest here today?
Well, I'd like to introduce everybody to my student and good friend, Charlie Hoyle. Charlie and I have been together since, you were about 15, 16 years old. He was with me down in Hilton Head and played at Lander, and now is the assistant women's and men's coach up there. And he's trying to play a little bit and get his golf game in shape and try tour school.
Man, I don't know what to do here. 19 handicapper, got 2 coaches in the house. D, we're going to learn something.
I'm ready to learn.
We're going to learn.
Well, we can talk all we want and try to teach you, but you can't carve dead wood.
Oh, Lord, here we go again. Charlie, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, good to have
be
you.
here.
Ooh, I love the accent.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, that's sexy.
Yeah.
I usually get that out of a different sort of, gender, but coming from you, I appreciate that as well.
Yeah, coming from the Godfather, that's good
Yes,
stuff.
absolutely.
Yeah. So, Charlie, give us a little bit of your history and background. You come from Lytham, right?
I come from Lytham, home of the Open Championship a few times. We've had some good winners there.
Yeah.
That's where I'm from, but I moved over here to South Carolina when I was 16. That's where I met Hugh.
Yeah.
And,
Sorry, dude.
Yeah. Hey,
It is what it is.
It is what it is. But I've been over here now, living in South Carolina since then. So
Yeah.
you can't get rid of me that easily.
Kind of a culture shock, wasn't it?
A little bit. I wasn't very familiar with sweet tea and fried chicken when I came over. So I've got used to that. I enjoy it.
Good.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. The little bugs and the heat and the humidity.
That was a big. That
The
was
no
a big
Sims in
culture
Hilton
shock.
Head got his attention
Yeah.
quick, trust me.
Yeah.
Over
Yeah.
on Defusky Island, yes.
Yeah.
And we don't get much 95-degree weather back home in England. So that
along
was a
with
bit of a-
90% humidity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, well, great. How's the transition going from basically a junior player into coaching? How's that going?
It's going well. I've been doing it now for about 4 years. I've been coaching for about 4 years. So I turned pro at the same time. I turned pro back in 2011. It's going good. I'm really enjoying it. We got, like Hugh said, we've got the women's and the men's team that I'm assistant coach for. So it's good. You learn a lot about your own game, and I think coaching other people really helps your game.
Helps you from the mental aspect of
It does.
watching
It
them
does.
make mistakes, going, how do you do that? And then you sit
Then you
back and
realize-
go, well, I've done that several times.
Yeah,
Exactly.
100 times.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So you know where they come from. Mm-hmm. The school you're at, tell us a little bit about that and what division you're in, things of that sort.
We are Lander University is the name of the school. We're Division 2, NCAA Division 2. We play a very competitive schedule against some of the best teams in the country. We're in probably the best region in the country. I think the national champions come out of our region the last 10, 12 years, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
We play really good competition, men's and women's. We've had a women's team for about 3 years, and we've already won our conference championship 2 years ago.
Oh, congrats.
Thank you very much.
And you guys were ranked, 25th this year?
I think we're ranked 25th in the country this year.
Fantastic.
When I played at Lander, we had a very, very good team. We're trying to get back to that. We've had a couple of down years, but I think we're back on the up and up. So
So the men's team has been around for a while. The women's team just 3 years.
they actually had a team back in the 70s at Lander, and then they disbanded it. And they started up again in 2005, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So I was the second class. My freshman year was 06, 07.
Okay. All right.
So, we got up to, I think our highest ranking when I was playing was 4th in the country.
Fantastic.
So, we had a really good team. We won multiple tournaments and went to the regionals every year.
Right.
Went to nationals twice. So I had a very good career and a very good time there. It was,
What course do y'all call home?
Greenwood Country Club.
Greenwood
Country Club, yeah. It's
Fun golf course.
It is a fun golf course, an old style, country club, 1927. I encourage anyone, if they're ever in the Greenwood area, to go and play there. It's a really nice course. They just installed new greens. I think they're Tiff Eagle.
Give a larger city that Lander's close to as far as Greenwood and the school itself.
We're about 55 miles south of Greenville.
Okay.
And we're about 70 miles north of Columbia, South Carolina. So
kind of wedged in the northern section.
And close to Augusta. We're about 60 miles from Augusta. So
where's that?
Yeah, have you ever
I
heard
wonder.
of it? There's a little municipal golf course there. I don't know if you ever heard of
Oh,
it.
is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's
Augusta National.
But it's fun to play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got it. So, what are we going to talk about Roundtable today?
I thought
There's not much happening.
There's not much happening as far as kind of transition, between the northern folks being here and going home and everybody around here. But, I've had
we got a lot of visitors in town.
We've got a lot of visitors in town, but
they're riding those little, what do they call them, crotch rockets? Yeah.
Yeah. But, I've had several students in here the last 4 or 5 days, and I thought we'd talk about, the teaching part, the training part, and the difference between worrying about playing golf and working on your golf game, and how to distinguish between the two, and how to hold yourself accountable for what you need to do to get better, to play better golf.
Okay. Well, roll on, Big Daddy.
Well, it comes down to this, George, and you've heard me talk about it 1,000 times, but, when you practice, you need to learn to practice at about 65, 70%, of your full power. A lot of people stand on the practice tee and you watch them and they look like they're swatting at flies. Because they're swinging hard as they can swing and hitting it all over the place and getting frustrated. And as with Charlie and several other of my students, I've had them go back to, honestly, we went back to basics yesterday.
We did.
And we worked on it again this morning, making sure grips and postures and all are right, and then working on specific drills that help them get the club in the right place, get the club face to where it's square at the top, not shut or open or cross the line and that kind of thing. And fortunately, I've been able to learn and to improve on and create a drill of doing steps and then hitting balls from that, and it's really made a difference in the last 4 or 5 days in the students that have come here. I mean, Thad Weir, who's going up to PGA Tour Canada, was in yesterday morning. We did a lot of the same things, talked a lot about maintaining pace, learning to control pace,
right,
so that it takes the nerves out of it and gives you the comfort of.
And we had Tyler in here, Tyler Light, last week, who's also going to PGA Tour Canada, and we had an interesting conversation with him. About hitting driver on every hole. And we got a little bit of outcome on that, and I think it actually our words sunk in a little bit. So I ended up playing with him just the other day, and watched him from the tips at the Fazio course at Barefoot. He went out and shot a smooth little 68, and that was with a couple of bogeys. So, but you didn't see him dragging out the big dog every hole.
Yeah, and I mean, it's about learning, like we talk about all the time about, if you can drive a stick shift, you've got to start out in first gear to get to high gear, just learning to change gears in your golf game. And, you look at someone like Charlie or Patrick Lundy that I teach, and some others that are playing the mini tours and trying to get to the PGA Tour Canadas or web.com. Charlie's going to qualify Monday, up in Raleigh. And, it's about understanding how to manage your game and how to keep it under control. Because like we talked about with Tyler and I talked about with Thad yesterday, a lot of it, you got 6 tournaments and they're going to reshuffle.
Right.
That's not a lot of time to hope you play well. So you better have a strategy. You better have a game plan for each hole, each golf course. And, as long as you can stay under control, and like you say, Tyler playing yesterday, glad to hear, he played well. But, you don't have to hit drivers. You learn to put the ball in the fairway and on the green and give yourself opportunities where your worst score is going to be a par. You're going to play well enough to where when that shuffle comes around, you're not going to be at the bottom of the list. You're either going to be right there to maintain your exempt status for the last 6, or, you could actually win or finish up there to where you move up in the shuffle.
And we talked about this with Tyler, and I know, Charlie, you'll agree with this. His philosophy was, well, I hit the driver so well, I bang it 320, and I'm going to get a win. Well, he's only playing 6 events.
Right.
And you're sitting here saying, okay, I'm going to get a win. But what I was looking for, I asked him the question. I said, what's your goals, objectives? He said it was the stupidest thing to win,
right?
Of course. But what I meant to hear from him was, I need to be in the money every week.
Yeah.
And then if I get 3 top 20s, I'm guaranteed extensions.
Right.
If I get, a couple of top 10s, I know I'm in, and I got my card for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
We didn't hear that initially, but then after we talked to him and then Hugh gave him his insight, I think there was a shuffling of the mind that says I can go out. There's 145 other players there.
Right. Yeah.
And they're also going to win, and they're also going to finish in the top 20, and they're also going to do top 10s. He's got to go out and himself and the golf course.
Right. Exactly.
No matter what they do, somebody's going to go out and shoot 8 under par.
Well, I mean, Charlie is 6'4" and hits it 340, or hits it like Tyler does, and it's ridiculous how far he hits it. But, even when he came to Hilton Head and, we were working and doing stuff there, how many times did you hear me screaming? When they'd go out to play and it was during our practice sessions,
Right.
What are you doing? Well, I want to hit it. No, hit me a hybrid here. Then he makes birdie and he looks at me, he goes, I would have never thought about that. I said, why do you think I was screaming? Mm-hmm. And I didn't say it was the stupidest thing ever that he wanted to win. It was about hitting driver every hole to think he had to get as close to the green as possible.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you could beat yourself around with driver wedge, that's great. But the only problem is you're only going to be successful at that 35% of the time.
Exactly.
I think as well that if the only thing you're thinking about is winning, that's not going to happen.
No.
If you just go through the process and have a good game plan like you talked about, I think that's the main thing. Give yourself chances.
So, it's like the old, the saying that I had, enjoy the process, the results will happen. And that's the idea.
One of the guys that works over at Barefoot, his name's Ben, he likewise is going up Monday for Raleigh for the qualifier.
Right.
And Web.com tour, by the way, is right outside of Raleigh this week. And they're having Monday qualifiers. I think there's like 100 or I don't know, there's like 150 or 200 players. I don't know, 260.
There's probably more than that. They usually have 2 courses. There'll be 6 spots each
so
course.
Figure 260, and they're going to give 6 spots, right?
So they've gone from 14 to 12?
Yeah. They cut back a little bit. Entry fees went up, and they cut back on the spots.
So my question to him was simply, what's your objective here? He says, well, I'm going to go out and probably somebody's going to shoot 8 under, and so I figure I got to shoot 6 or 7 under, and I'm going, okay, dude, you're planning on going out right now with the mindset that if you don't shoot 65, you're not going to get in.
And he's beat before he gets there because if you go out there trying to birdie every hole, you're going to end up 2 or 3 over in WD and come home.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you go out there and you let it come. You let the game and the round come to you and develop it from there. And if you've prepared properly, practiced, and you give yourself, like I say, those opportunities, you're going to make some 10, 15, 20 footers, and you're going to hit some close. But it's about,
Interestingly, Ben just got back from U.S. Open qualifiers up in Cleveland, Ohio, where he's from, and he's such a good player. He's a steady player, got a great head on his shoulders. He's a great young man, and he came back, and I said, okay, Ben, how'd you do? And he said, I missed it by 1. And I said, so what made you miss by 1? He said, I hit 3 drivers that I shouldn't have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Yeah.
As long as he learns from that, then it will help him when he goes to this qualifier.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
You understand. Like, as boring as it is, George, if you put it in play and you give yourself opportunities, the stress goes down.
Yeah.
You relax and you get comfortable at what you're doing, and that's what we were talking about yesterday.
And what I found, too, in his response, which I was so glad to hear, I patted him on the back. I wanted to give him a hug, but, some people look at that kind of strangely.
Well, hair like yours, I don't see why not.
Yeah. D, can we shut his mic off? Thanks. He didn't mention, well, I hit a bad chip shot. I chunked and dunked. I put a Hunter Mahan on one, or I didn't putt well. There was none of that. I hit 3 drivers where I shouldn't have.
And that's the thing, bad shots are going to happen. That's what coaching, that's what I tell our players. Bad shots happen, but you can avoid bad decisions. You can avoid bad decisions. That's the main thing.
I asked him, I said, the 3 drivers that you should not have hit, how many of them were poorly hit? And he said, only 1. Right. I snapped 1 because I was so upset to the previous hole because I had hit a really good driver and I didn't think about the landing area, and the ball hit the fairway, went into the rough, and then put me right up against a tree line and totally blocked me out. And I'm in 3.5 inches of rough. I couldn't get the club through the ball, and all of a sudden I'm sitting here scrambling for bogey.
Exactly. I think, like Hugh said as well, going back to the point of giving yourself chances, a lot of people go into those one-day qualifiers or one-day events thinking that they have to go shoot a 65, and they try and push and hit drivers maybe where they shouldn't do. Whereas you need to go out there and just give yourself chances. Have a good game plan. Don't try and push and try and make birdies. Just keep giving yourself chances. If you do that enough, you're going to make some birdies eventually.
He ended up with, I think, 5 bogeys and shot 73 and missed it by 1.
Yeah, Patrick Lundy missed by 1 up in North Carolina. He shot 1 under 71. It took 70.
Mm-hmm.
And
so, and he kicks himself right now because that's his single source opportunity of qualifying for the U.S. Open. He tells a somewhat similar story last year in the fact that he went out and was playing in the U.S. Amateur, and he just picked the wrong club for the wrong situation on the wrong hole. And this goes back, Hugh, to your constant teachings, and what we talk about here on this program is there's 14 clubs in your bag, but that bag is actually your course management club.
Mm-hmm.
And without that course management done around any golf, I don't care who you are, if you're a 19 handicap like me or anybody, the point is course management is what's going to make you score better. You can take anybody out there, and if you teach them how to work their way around a golf course with the shots that they have in their bag, instead of trying to create things that they can't do. Course management is the one that's going to drop your stroke average by 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 shots. So,
well, I mean, it's like we talked about a bunch. I've talked to a bunch of the kids, trying to teach them and help them. I mean, you're playing a par 5, you can't get there in 2, but yet you're going to hit driver in a 3-wood.
Oh yeah, right into the pond.
Yeah, exactly.
Into the lumberyard.
And I mean, why not just play to a specific yardage to give yourself a 9-iron wedge, sand wedge, where you've got a full shot where you can spin it and stop it and shoot it. It's just a matter of playing to your strengths, not to what's cool.
And I love the answer when you're talking to an amateur. Well, why did you hit 3-wood there? Because you just went into a hazard. Well, I don't have any confidence in my 6-iron or my 5-iron or my 4-iron. Then, dude, you need to get off the golf course and go back up to the driving range.
Yeah. You need to work on your pace and your tempo and what you need to do. And
there's got to be a go-to club. Everybody has a go-to club. And for whatever reason, because of length, weight, feel, head, whatever it may be, that club is what fits you the best as far as frequency. Has it been balanced? It doesn't matter. And everybody has one. But you got to have a go-to shot, too, out on the golf course.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, everybody's got – I mean, you know what mine is. I mean, like my daddy said, I couldn't hit a cut if I had a knife in my pocket, but I've gotten better at that.
But you can.
But I can now.
You can peel it.
But, I mean, a draw is my natural shot. It's Charlie's natural shot. And it's just one of those things that that when you are playing a stock shot, that it's going to draw 5 yards.
Right.
And that's what you're playing.
But that's you pros. I mean, for us amateurs, our stock shot is we're killing 3 squirrels, 2 worms, and a woodpecker. And, so we're either hugging the ground or we're ballooning it up and blowing it right or whatever. But as you progress in your game, if you're blowing it right on that given day, whatever the driving range is giving you that morning, because everybody, I mean, I saw you at Florence warming up for the U.S. Senior Open. Ball just wasn't moving the way you wanted to. Now, granted, it was pouring rain.
Yeah.
But the ball just wasn't moving, and then I saw you adapt to that out on the golf course.
Well, you have to.
Yeah.
You dance with the one you brought with you.
Exactly.
Just because you brought her with you and you don't like the way she dances doesn't mean you go leave her and try to go find somebody else. You've got to.
Well, I've done that. But.
Well, and we see how that's worked out.
That's right.
But you go with things that you have to do, and if you're hitting you stand on a practice tee and the ball's not turned over and it's a slight cut, moving left or right, aim it and go with it. Odds are when you get on the first tee, it's probably going to go straight, but that's not such a bad thing either.
No. You're just on the left side instead of
So
into the trees right because you lined up for that little draw.
Exactly. So it's just about, understanding yourself, your game, your nerves, the way you're, and getting your mind to where it thinks about what you're trying to accomplish.
Mm-hmm. Two coaches here. We have listeners throughout the world, viewers throughout the world. They're 25, 30, 35 handicappers. They're just learning the game, or even they're experienced golfers, which I call a single digit. Give us a routine. When we go out on the driving range, you talk about bring what, came with you that day as far as bring the one that dances with you. What do we do to warm up, to get ready, to kind of analyze where we are on that given day on the golf course?
Well, here's the thing, and this is where people need to check your ego at the door when you get out of the car, and you go to the practice tee and you got your range balls. You start out with a sand wedge or a pitching wedge, something short to get loose. And as you're getting loose, you swing very slow and smooth. You try to hit it solid. You don't worry about how far it goes. Let's make good contact, get everything loose and get it moving. And if you go to a 7 or an 8 iron and, you hit, 7 or 8, 10 balls with that, same pace. Do it at 65, 70% to allow your muscles and your timing to develop, your muscles to get loose and to adjust, your brain to kind of grasp, hey, this ball's going pretty good and I'm swinging smooth and easy. And just because you have a driver in your hand doesn't mean you have to try to be, the longest hitter in the world. Mm-hmm. Hit it just like you hit your 7 iron and you'll be able to find it. That's the mistake amateur golfers make is they just don't stay within themselves.
One thing
you look at their driver swing compared to the warm-up swing that they just had, and it's like two different people.
Exactly. Well, one thing that you told me as well when I was when we first met about tournament golf and warming up and getting ready for a round that stuck with me is that naturally when you go to the first tee, you're going to get a little faster. You're going to be a little more amped up. You're ready to play, and when you're in that competitive mode, that's just going to happen. So feeling like you're swinging at 65, 70% on the range is going to transfer well when you get on the first tee. You're going to be swinging at 85, 90%.
Yeah, and you never want to feel like you're going 100% unless a circumstance absolutely calls for it. I mean, you always want to have that other gear that you can go to. You may not necessarily go to it, but you have it.
Unless you did a really good practice session, a lengthy practice session, you shouldn't even think about going 100% on the first tee, should you?
I don't think you should think about going 100% on the first tee anytime.
Right.
I mean, that's the legend teaching me that from the time I was 10 years old.
Right.
You go out and you keep things under control. You watch your tempo and your pace. You hit it solid. You put it in the fairway, and then you go from there. Mm-hmm. There's always – I don't care how long you think you are off the tee. There's always somebody longer.
Oof. Yeah.
No but, kidding. I mean, it's like we talked about the other day. John Verrill, he's texting me from the Wells Fargo, watching David Toms. He goes, yeah, he hits the prettiest butter cut out there you've ever seen every time. He goes, but, dude, he hits it nowhere. I said, yeah, John, but there's only 2 problems here. He goes, what? I said, he's on the PGA Tour, a multiple winner, and he won a major. Mm-hmm. So what does distance matter?
And he's been there over 20 years.
Pards, Corey Paving couldn't break this plate glass window in the front up here, standing 15 feet away with a driver. He'd have to duck for the rebound, but yet he won a U.S. Open at Shinnecock.
That's right.
Fred Funk was trying to drive it in the walkway up to the fairway because he couldn't get to the fairway. Mm-hmm. And he hit them 80% of the time in between all the high stuff. I mean, distance matters, but it doesn't. It's about being able to control your golf ball. Well, how do you do it? Watch the great players. Their pace and tempo always looks the same.
Jordan Spieth.
Yeah.
Not the biggest in the world.
They did a piece on that, didn't they, about his game and how he doesn't really do any specific part of the game fantastically.
He just does it the same.
He's a player, and he's got a great head on his shoulders. I think that's the main thing with him is that he's...
Well, being 21 years old, it's his short game has far surpassed his current age.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And that is what's established him now to be a major championship winner, is that short game. Mm-hmm. No and question. We talk about that all the time here. You may not be good with the driver, you may not be good with the middle irons or the hybrids or whatever, but where you'll far surpass your playing partners on the weekends, whether it's men or women, is how much dedication and time you put to that short game and that putting. I mean, I know you tell your
That's
students the same thing. Y'all can go out and hit drivers all you want. You can hit them for hours and compete against one another. Who hits it the longest? Who hits it the highest with less spin? All this other stuff. But the money's going to be won over there on that little putting green.
That's it. We tell all our players, you need to spend 70% of the time working on short game inside 100 yards, especially putting. I know one thing that's stuck with me is drills with putting, especially doing a 25 drill, different pace drills. But
explain 25
drill. That's you've probably seen, the viewers and listeners have probably seen as well. Phil Mickelson puts tees around the hole, and I do it just with one of those alignment sticks. So it's about 4 feet, and put 5 tees around the hole, and you just have to make 25 putts in a row. You go clockwise. Make 5, then counterclockwise.
Doesn't
make
the hole
5.
Fill up? You
get them out
balls.
You just after 5 balls, you take them out and start again.
So George,
did you see him roll his eyes?
Yeah.
Did you see him? Good stuff. No, the great drill. So you basically make 5 from each spot.
Well, you do 5. You do 1 from each spot, but you go around and make 5, then go
in 5
back
rotations.
Around. Right.
Yeah.
So you're never sitting in one spot to
Exactly.
get comfortable. You're having to go to different breaking putts as it's around the hole. You make 5, and once you make them, you reset them at the tees, and you go counterclockwise.
And I've seen Phil do this in practice rounds, like at Augusta, for example, and specifically with the tees, as you just mentioned, the same drill. And he will not get off that drill until he makes everything.
Right.
That's what we did. And I had kids sit out there till dark. And another thing I used to do with Charlie's group, we had 10 kids in the group, or 9 others counting Charlie, and with my post-grad group, I'd make them go out and play from the red tees. They could use a 5, 7, 9, and I'd give them a putter. No wedge, no sand wedge. They had to shoot, I think it was 38 or better. They had to break 40. I mean, they were all, the high school kids were basically 17 and under. And so, go out and break 40 with these clubs from the ladies' tees. And there were a couple that had a hard time with it. Charlie, he got through it after, I think, the second or third time, and boom, then you give them another club. You give them a sand wedge. Now it gets a little easier. So it's about using those clubs. You have to manage your way around to the distances that you've got to hit these clubs in there. You're not standing there just and you'd be surprised at how fast some kids picked it up and their games improved, and how slow some kids were at it because they didn't get what you were trying to teach them. As much as you tried to explain it and tell them and walk around with them, they didn't get it. And those that got it, like Charlie, his last year between the post-grad group and with the high school group we had 13 wins. I mean, in a school year, 9 months, that's pretty impressive.
That's impressive, yeah.
Yeah. So
no doubt about it.
They learned a lot from that kind of stuff, and it's just little things like that. They're fun because everybody can laugh at each other.
Exactly.
Because somebody makes a mistake and they're all back there cussing, I can't get there. I hit the wrong club to learn from it and move on.
Right.
And again, like I said, those that did.
And I remember I was being members at private clubs, public clubs, whatever it may be. One of the funnest tournaments of the year that we would put together for the men's group was, of course, 3 club tournaments. Any 3 clubs you want, you pull them and go. You can't use somebody else's. You got to use yours. And I'm telling you what, you see a lot of guys out on the range trying to figure out how much they can cut a 7-iron or, how much can they get underneath a 9-iron, to get it to set down softer. So the creativity level of just, working your clubs instead of just saying, okay, I hit a 9-iron 145 yards and I'm going to hit it every time at 145 and I have no clue what it'll do from 100.
Well, the funniest part was, I think, and Charlie picked up on it early, was we were playing at DeFusky, and we were over at Melrose, and IK Kim stood on this one hole, and they're all the girls and the boys are they're playing that same tee, and she stood up there with that 5-iron. And I think she hit about a 30-yard hook and hit it past every boy and everybody down there. And all of a sudden you could see that everybody's going, hang on a minute. Then they started understanding. Imagination, creating shots to gain distance, to back some out of it. And it was fun to watch. And, I mean, I think between IK, Charlie, and Roberto Roca, I mean, they were the 3 fastest to shoot break 40. And I think they shot par, and then get to where they'd get more clubs, and then all of a sudden, they'd move back a tee, and then it just go from there.
I think a lot of that creativity is kind of, I don't want to say lost, but I think it's not quite as
lost, dude.
prevalent
It's lost
now with youth and with the kids in the game.
They don't have the attention span for it.
It's
right,
lost,
that's true.
dude.
That's true.
Everybody's looking, I got to play like Tiger and Rory and hit it 9 miles. And I think yesterday for one of my other students was a big, big plus watching me with you, because when I told Charlie we're going back to the step drill and let's go and work on this and watch your pace, and it just got better and better. Next thing you know, this other student that was bucking me on this thing started watching and figuring out, okay, he's doing it, it's working, it's time for me to do this. And
I can imagine who that was.
And it's just, it really, it went well. I mean, for everybody concerned. I mean, everybody was happy when they left yesterday, so it was good.
Good. What's your agenda, Charlie? What you got going on? Is the season over?
The season's over for Lander, so I'm kind of in my
play
mode, competitive mode. Like Hugh said, I'm going to a rally on Sunday, playing the Monday qualifier up there. I'm just trying to get everything situated where I have a bit of backing, a bit of money to play with, because obviously everyone knows that's the most important thing in professional golf. It's so expensive, and I don't have the means to back myself, so I'm just trying to sort that out at the moment. But want to play some on the eGolf Professional Tour, a one-day tour that I play on quite a bit, Carolina Mountain Tour. That's really, really good experience there. I've played 3 events so far this year.
Y'all ever play the Cliffs at Kiowee?
I've played there, but I've not played in a tournament.
I fitted both the pros there, so they're great guys.
Yeah, that's a great place up there. It's beautiful.
They were showing me some pictures. We got to go, dude. We got to go. They've invited us up for a weekend, and we get some of hot apple pie from Al. We got to go.
All right.
We back up in the mountains.
I hear you.
I want to do a shout out real quick. Our thoughts and prayers are with Jimmy Big's dad. Just had a heart valve replacement.
I can relate to that.
We both can.
Hope he gets through there. Just listen to the doctors and do what they tell you, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. But I guess got word this morning he is doing fine. So we wish him continued recovery with that. And then one of our good friends, Mr. Dave Schreier, is just going under his 9th surgery. Yes, folks, I said 9. We assume it's to his back.
It's either his back or his wrist. I know he's having problems with his wrist. Was his wrist or his elbow? It's one of them, but it's like he put on Facebook. He goes, and those folks that think golf isn't tough.
Yeah. History leading money winner on the Hooters Tour, which is now basically swingthought.com tour, but back in the heyday when the Hooters Tour was the quote-unquote next step to the Nike and then up to the Big Show. But Dave Schreier's in the Hall of Fame, I guess, with the Hooters Tour, if you want to call it that. But what a super individual, a true lover of the game of golf. He spent his entire life, childhood, all the way up through college and, of course, professional ranks. And we love Dave to death. I had him on the program here. We need to catch up with him when he gets back.
We do.
Our thoughts and prayers go out to him. Anything on your ticker today?
Yeah, I'm just going to go
out.
You
and I are going to go out and play a little golf, aren't we?
You and I and Charlie are going to go out and play a little golf and have a little fun.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm going to bring Big Mama.
I'm bringing my new one from Sergeant Taggart. It's pretty pretty.
You're still off my Christmas list. Charlie, thanks for joining us. So much fun.
It's been a pleasure.
You're welcome back anytime, dude.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed it.
Doors open. Come on back.
Thank you.
All right. TGD Radio and TV are produced and broadcast by the Zeus Radio Network for thegolfdirector.com. When visiting The Golf Director, be sure to check out our featured course pages. You'll find up-to-date information about course conditions, specials, much, much more going on at each of those courses. Need help with your next golf vacation?
Just call Dave.
That was pretty good, man. Give us a call, 844-GO-GOLF-1. 844-464-6531, and ask for Dave. You'll love talking to him. All of our TGD programming is archived for listening and viewing on demand. Catch up on any show you may have missed. Click on the TGD Radio or the TGD TV tabs in the menu screen at thegolfdirector.com. We're now available on over 1 billion, with a B, billion devices at iTunes, Audio Realm, TuneIn, YouTube, Ustream, Roku, Blueberry, and, of course, the Myrtle Beach Golf app. For HR3, I'm George Honeycutt. We want to thank Charlie and Big D behind the glass, but we really want to thank you for viewing and tuning in with us today. There's more golf news and information coming up next.